Then on Sports Central, we go for our next team prediction of this offseason, and it's going to be over NC State, one of the top teams in the ACC in the 2022 season, as this team went 8-5 overall. A good season for this team. This is a team that's been a consistent contender in the conference in recent years. How is this team going to be in 2023, and what can we expect at NC State in the 2023 season is what we'll be talking about here today. We'll be analyzing this team and predict their schedule game by game in this video. Let's get started with a quick recap of 2022. Once again, the record was 8-5, and this was a team that was undefeated through September. They were 4-0 heading into the Clemson matchup, which, I mean, that turned out to be a huge matchup there against Clemson. You consider NC State's expectations heading into the season. They were undefeated through September. Yeah, definitely a big matchup where NC State did lose in the end. It was a loss by 10, 30-20 was the final, but a competitive matchup, night game, really tough place to play there in Clemson. So it was a competitive loss there, but then came back the next week, beat Florida State 19-17, which Florida State was actually a really good team last season, and I mean, you can expect them to be even better. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised one bit if Florida State was in the college football playoff this upcoming season. That's a team that looks really promising. And then the next week after that, took a loss to Syracuse 24-9. Syracuse was a team that was really impressive in the first half of the season. Things kind of fell apart down the stretch. But that was a tough loss there against Syracuse. Then you had your bye. You came back. 2 nice wins over Virginia Tech and Wake Forest, then lost to Boston College by 1, a game that this team probably shouldn't have lost, then lost to Louisville by 15. So a couple of tough losses there as well. Then beat North Carolina 30-27 in double overtime to finish out the regular season. So just a bit of an inconsistent team last season. This was a team that was talented enough, I think, to maybe make a run for being a New Year's Six team at least, but in the end it just didn't come out to be with some of those tough losses that this team took. But took on Maryland in the Mayo Bowl, did lose to them as well 16-12, a close, low scoring matchup there. So another close loss. This team suffered multiple really close losses last season, and the final record was 8-5, but still, I mean, not a bad season for this team. This is a team that's kind of been in that 7-9 win range for, and you could say 8-9 win range for multiple years now. I mean, you consider like the past 10 years or so, this team has had maybe 2 bad seasons. Otherwise, they've been above 7 wins. So, I mean, this has been a generally good team under Dave Doran over the past few years. So, but looking forward to 2023 now with your roster preview. Devin Leary is transferring out, which, I mean, he had high expectations as a quarterback heading into last season, but I mean, injuries were an issue for this team for a good chunk of the season. We saw 3 quarterbacks split time last year, and I mean, you could say 4 if you consider Jack Chambers. I mean, we had Devin Leary, Ben Finley, MJ Morris, and then Jack Chambers, of course, who was probably the 4th of the bunch. We saw Finley have the 2nd most attempts, but MJ Morris was definitely more impressive than Finley when he played. And it looks like MJ Morris is going to be the starter at quarterback for this season. Honestly, though, it could go either way. You got Brennan Armstrong, who is coming in from Virginia. So it's going to be a quarterback battle for sure between Armstrong and MJ Morris. I mean, Brennan Armstrong's got more experience with Virginia. He's definitely got a lot of upside, but MJ Morris does too. I do kind of want to see what he can do and if he can play at a high level as well. I mean, there's a lot of work that's been done in the offseason. Maybe we see him break out, but you do lose Ben Finley. He's transferring out. Devin Leary transferring as well. So the quarterback situation will be different in 2023. As for the backfield looks pretty good. Jordan Houston coming back. Demi Sumo is transferring out. He was the 2nd running back for this team last season, but Jordan Houston was the primary back for the majority of the season. Some have over 700 yards of total offense. So we'll see what he can do in 2023. I definitely have some optimism about him. And then the receiving core does lose the top and the 2nd. Thayer Thomas and Devin Carter both gone. Keon Lassane is coming back, who was the 3rd wideout from last season. So receiving core is going to be a bit different as well, but there's still some good depth there as well. So, I mean, offensively, this is a team that does have a bit of uncertainty, but definitely some potential as well. You lose 1 on the O-line, 1 on the D-line, 2 linebackers, and then 3 in the secondary. So defensively, in the secondary, there's a few changes for sure. But otherwise, I mean, this is a team with potential. I do think that it's maybe a more questionable team looking forward to 2023. If this team can stay healthy, I mean, honestly, last season, that was really the case. If this team could have stayed healthy last season, we would have seen this team, I think, really excel up to 10 wins plus, and just didn't turn out that way. But 2023, this is still a talented team, and one to keep an eye on. Looking forward to this season. But your transfer report on recruiting now, Devin Leary, obviously off to Kentucky, and that's where Sumo is heading as well, a running back from last season. Brennan Armstrong coming in from UVA, Ben Finley off to Cal, Devin Carter's off to West Virginia. You bring in defensive tackle Jaramillo, who's coming in from Oregon. Expect him to be a starter. Joshua Harris, expect him to, or he's headed off to Ole Miss, but Robert Kennedy, expect him to be a starter coming in from East Carolina. Recruiting-wise, 43rd in the nation, 7th in the ACC. Not terrible. You got 3 4-stars coming in and 15 3-stars. And overall, this is still a team that I still think in the ACC is, I mean, NC State's here to stay. We'll see what happens with this conference realignment. Could a team or two at the top of the ACC leave? I mean, that's a possibility. You haven't heard much about NC State with that realignment talks. I mean, if this team sticks around, and honestly, I mean, that's looking like very much a possibility. I think NC State is a team that really can remain a big contender for years to come in the conference. I mean, we've seen that over the past few years. This is a team that's been a consistent contender. Not a lot of teams in the ACC have been as consistent as NC State. I mean, once in a while, this team has a poor season, but I mean, you consider since, you'd say since like 2010, this is a team that is consistently a 7 to 9 win team. They haven't broke past 9 yet, but still, I mean, this is a team that you can expect to be a contender year after year, with the exception of one every once in a while. But I still think this is a talented enough team to make some noise in the ACC. And with that, let's look at your schedule now. You got UConn on the road there in week 1. That is on a Thursday night, which UConn made it to a bowl game last season. I don't think that that's a team that's going to be good in 2023, but it's still a road matchup to start the season, so you don't want to sleep on that one. And then Notre Dame, a tough matchup there in week 2. Notre Dame's going to be tough next year. I could see them definitely being a national contender once again. Sam Hartman in there, Wake Forest quarterback, who is now a part of the Irish. He is definitely going to lead Notre Dame to a successful season. So that's a tough one there in week 2. Then you got VMI in week 3. Virginia on the road on a Friday night. You got 2 Friday games in a row here against Virginia and then Louisville. Virginia is going to be an interesting one because you got Brendan Armstrong, especially if he's starting, going up against his former team. Yeah, that could be a fun one there, that's for sure. And then Louisville at home, which they could be a halfway decent team as well. Got Marshall at home, Duke on the road. Duke last season surprised, and I think they could be pretty solid once again in 2023, so you don't want to sleep on that one. Then you got your bye week and then Clemson at home. This is an interesting matchup after your bye. You got Clemson, a team that is considered one of the top of the ACC for sure. That's a big opportunity there. Then you got Miami at home after that. Wake Forest on the road, Virginia Tech on the road, and then North Carolina at home to finish out the regular season. So looking at your first month of action, UConn on the road, I think you beat them easily. Now, this is a road game against a UConn team that usually is just one of the worst in the FBS. So I do think that's absolutely a winnable game. You're a much more talented team than them, but you just don't want to sleep on that matchup being on a Thursday night before early in week 1, going on the road. Definitely don't sleep on that one. Then Notre Dame at home. I just don't think he beat Notre Dame. That's a team that really I like a lot. Sam Hartman, that's a team that's very talented. So that's going to be a tough matchup. Maybe NC State hangs in there for a while, but I definitely want to favor Notre Dame there. But that's also a huge opportunity, though, I will say, in week 2. Taking on a potential national contender like them, you can really put a dent in their hopes of being a national contender there in week 2. I mean, NC State is, and having that game at home as well, I mean, I'm not counting NC State out there. I am favoring the Irish, but that's definitely a huge opportunity for this team there. Then VMI, take care of them, no problem. Virginia on the road. I do want to make this one close, but Virginia is kind of in a mess right now. So I do think he beat them, and Brendan Armstrong, if he's the starter, he gets a huge win over his former team. But yeah, I do think that NC State wins that one. They're just the better team than Louisville at home. I do think you drop this one. Louisville next season is kind of a wild card team. They do have an interesting schedule. I think when you hear all the talk about how Louisville's got such an easy schedule, I don't know that I think that with their schedule, but I do think Louisville gets a win there. It's going to be close, and that's definitely a game that I think could go either way, probably a 50-50 matchup, but I'm going to take you to drop that one for now. Marshall, beat them, no problem. Duke on the road. They're kind of in a similar situation to Kansas. Duke in basketball, that's just what they're known for, is basketball. Same with Kansas, but both Duke and Kansas had really good seasons for their programs last season. And honestly, in 2023, both teams could still be pretty good. And honestly, in Duke's case, they could be even better in 2023. I wouldn't be surprised if Duke was maybe an 8 to 10 win team in 2023. That is a possibility when you look at the talent and Riley Leonard. That's a team to keep an eye on. So I do think you dropped the Duke there, but it's still definitely a matchup that could go either way. But I think you come back after your bye and you get a huge win over Clemson. NC State's really, they've given Clemson trouble over the years, and I do think that this is a dangerous one for the Tigers, and you get a massive win there at home on the 28th. It all makes sense. That is definitely one of the main trap games I think that Clemson has to face this season. Now, I see Clemson as a 10-11 win team next year, and I do think they drop a game to NC State there. So you have a really nice win there. You're 5-3 heading into November. Miami at home, and I think you get another nice win here this time over Miami. And I think the Hurricanes could be probably in the 8 to 10 win range in 2023. So you get two really good wins. Got some good momentum heading into the Wake Forest matchup. I do think you drop that one. Wake Forest is a team that no more Sam Hartman, so I do think they drop off a decent amount. But coming off of two big wins, you would think they'd beat Wake Forest, but last season this was a bit of an inconsistent team. I do think that carries over a bit in 2023, given, this is still a team with a lot of young talent in 2023, maybe not quite as much experience as we saw in 2022. So I think you dropped that one to Wake Forest, but definitely one that could go either way. Virginia Tech, you beat them, and the North Carolina, you beat them last season. This is a matchup that also could go either way. I'm going to take North Carolina. Just because they're going to be playing for a lot, I think, at that game, which NC State being 7-4, still they got something to play for, but North Carolina I do think wins that one and sends NC State to 7-5. I do want to say this as well. I'm pretty confident this team is in between 7-5 and 8-4. They're going to get 7 or 8 wins. It's just a matter of what games they win and what games they lose. I'm pretty comfortable saying your range is between 5-7 and 9-3. I do think, though, the quarterback situation, if MJ Morris can break through, have a great season, that's probably this team's best chance of being a big contender. If it's Brennan Armstrong, that's also good, but I'm not sure. Brennan Armstrong getting a fresh start is definitely, I think, what he needs. We saw him have a good season in 2021. 2022 was definitely a disappointment. So we'll see if getting a fresh start is good for him, and I think it will be. But despite all of that, I still think this is a team with a 9-3 ceiling. If they couldn't get up to 10 wins last season, I just don't know if they can this year. But this is still a team of potential. It's also a challenging schedule. You got to play Notre Dame as one of your non-conference games. And Clemson, Miami, Duke, North Carolina, all tough games there. And so I do have 7-5 for this team. It's just a matter of what games they win, what games they lose. And overall, this would still be a good season for this team, especially if they can get to a bowl game and win a halfway decent one as well. But with that, let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this team. And I appreciate you guys all watching as always. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. Catch you on the next one.